Good day, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk with AFO. And as usual in the studios, my buddies, Ife and Kester. Guys, how are you today?
I'm doing very fine, sir.
I'm not doing very fine.
You're not doing very I know why Ife is not doing fine. I'm surprised Kester is fine. Okay.
Well, I'm doing fine for doing fine's sake, but then I don't want to go deeper than that.
How much did you buy? How much did you buy 5,000 naira today?
5,000 is
5,000.
Ife told
1,000.
Ife told me he bought 5,000 or 6,000. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the case. Even 10,000, 2,000, 1,500, 300.
So before it was 100 naira per 1,000. Now it is 200 naira per 1,000. So if you are withdrawing 1,000, you have to pay 200 naira.
You buy money.
Honestly, is this not interesting? Like you are buying money.
Yes.
All right, guys. Already you've let out the cat out of the bag, right? Our conversation today is really around the central bank policy of the new Naira notes. That's what our conversation will be about today. Last week, we talked about Nigerians in the diaspora and how they can get high-paying jobs. And Taufik, my very good friend, my neighbor in Texas, did justice to that topic. And from the feedback we got online, it shows how much people appreciated the topic and how much people would love to make dollars and transit from their tarmac jobs to high-paying tech jobs in the diaspora. As a matter of fact, people have reached out to me. They want to engage Taufik directly. They want to take some of his courses. So I'm glad that we are making progress and people appreciate what we're doing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kester, you also want to talk about the fact that our subscribers are growing, right?
Yes.
In a space of 1 month.
In the space of
Kester,
we've grown by 300 plus subscribers, which is a
wonderful.
win for me because I wasn't expecting that fast pace, right? Which means a lot of people are looking out for our content and are expecting more, right? So we have to keep
expecting more. We have to give them more.
Yeah.
Ife,
Sir,
you want to speak to that as well?
Yeah, so what we are planning to give people now is like there's something we call premium content.
Premium content.
Yes. So you guys should
premium beer.
Yeah, to your premium yes, exactly.
Yeah. So like I started with our conversation today is on this central bank's policy, right? We really want to look at it and also from a technology standpoint, speak to this conversation and what we believe the CBN should have done right to get things going for Nigeria. The policy for me makes a lot of sense. But before we delve into that topic, because I know that, of course, would really take much energy in us. Kester has a lot to talk about. He wants to speak directly to Emefiele. If we will call out Emefiele on this, we'll call out Buhari on this, right? Everybody involved on putting pressures on Nigeria, right? We intend to call them out. But let's quickly go into our tech news. Let's look at our tech news for the week, right? Then after that, we can really delve into the week's topic. Who is going to go first?
Let me go for the tech news. So
yes, Kester.
Bill to ban TikTok in US reflects growing concerns in Congress. So like a group of lawmakers, right? They revived the legislation to ban TikTok, basically ban TikTok in US. And the owner of TikTok is a Chinese, the Chinese person. So they want to restrict their ability to have the information of US citizens, right?
Yeah.
Because they are afraid that the government will ask the TikTok owner to give them just stuff like so. It's funny because Americans, for TikTok that is not their own app, they are so concerned about the privacy of their citizens, and whereas many other applications that is even bigger than TikTok, even though TikTok is fast growing, that are owned by US people, they don't talk about although they do, but not at the level. They've called the CEO to have to sit down and meet with them and talk about it, about the fact.
If will heaven fall if they ban TikTok? Will heaven fall? I mean, what will happen to Nigerians that are so dependent on TikTok? TikTok to a large extent now is a way of life.
Yeah, yes, it is a way of life. It is the new trend. So I think the biggest scare is that they think China are using TikTok to like spy on the Americans.
On Americans, right?
TikTok as this sort of data gathering tools, so that people are not really aware about because.
And you know why I think? Sorry for cutting in, Ife. You'll finish your thoughts. What I even think they would move very quickly on this particular bill. I don't know if it will get passed, but the fact that early this week there was this balloon, that flew around US, and it was also a Chinese. It was also a Chinese, intelligence gathering balloon, right? I'm sure this also would get this TikTok thing to have some serious push. Anyways, if I finish your thoughts and let's move on with that.
Conspiracy about TikTok though, even me myself, I don't have TikTok on my phone because when you sign up on so it means giving them access to like patch into your phone, and they can easily collect any information from your phone.
It's not TikTok.
It's only TikTok. Virtually all apps ask you to sign your death warrant before they ask you to sign up your life. You can't even move to the next stage on most apps if you don't Apple, for example, will tell you that this particular app has been tracking your location, tracking your movements in the last, has gathered your information more than 50 times.
One app. They have so much. Like these people, and it's all of them. Even the CEO of TikTok, he said that there is no way that he's going to share data of people, that they have a strict rule,
strict policy
and all of that. But then one of those people from government, US government,
due to the way their government is structured,
he put it out clearly that the way China government is,
there's nothing he can do about it.
If they request for it,
God bless
they are
you,
exactly to give those information. So he has to meet sometime in March, he has to meet with those people and discuss the future of TikTok in the US, I guess.
I mean, the US government can't force Mark on releasing Facebook data to them. They can't force it.
Yeah, but
are you sure?
They can't force him. They have to be
like, my goodness. If what you don't know, you don't know. What you don't know, you don't know. There is actually a provision. I think we need to check this out and possibly put it out at the next episode. There's a provision of law, right, in US that if there's a court ruling, like if you go to the court and get the court approval to subpoena a particular information about anybody, the organization they don't have any reason not to comply.
Yes, that's true.
Yes. They will comply, right? So to think that your information, if you don't want your information, if you want it private, then keep it private. Don't go on TikTok, don't go on Facebook. I mean, I guess that's the way I see it. Anyways, we just really need to talk about this because we have TikTok is like is a serious economy now.
Yeah.
Like, you know how much people are making on TikTok, and the minute you start saying, you know what, is out of US, you know, that also would, before you know it, it will start moving from countries to countries. And trust me, government, particularly some countries like Nigeria, that will waste time to ban Twitter every opportunity they can. Anyways, the other tech fact we want to look at, Ife.
Samsung is 38 years and 1 month older than Apple.
I'm surprised that is that making our list today. Everybody knows Samsung is older than Apple.
Yeah.
38 years older. But value-wise, but see the interesting part of life, right? Talking about value now. The fact that you've been around for a long time doesn't mean, you know, you can't have a new sheriff in town that would have more ideas than yourself. That's the story of Apple and Samsung. Okay.
And the original intent for Samsung was to be a grocery store.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week or a couple of weeks ago. But there's something I find interesting, you know, in what you put together, Kester. Smoking will void your Apple warranty.
Yes, I saw that, and I had to read further about it because I was surprised. Apparently, it's kind of like a way for them to reduce smoking, I guess. You know, that's Apple as a brand. You know, one of these humanitarian or
social... How will it void your? Are they saying is it that they have like an equipment that actually can test that Afo was smoking while using his computer or what?
There are two things that I'm thinking about this. One is either they have kind of like a smoke sensor in their device, or we all know that these are webcam in our laptop.
Aha. So how is that different from TikTok?
I know of one of my colleagues, she always uses a paper tape on her webcam, like paranoid much, you would think. But then
I think what I'm seeing here is using an Apple product in an environment with extreme temperature or corrosive substance can potentially damage the device and void the warranty. So I think that's what they are talking about.
That's what they mean.
So I think when you are exposed any harmful substances or exposure to smokes and all, so I think it can in turn damage the product. So and when they are troubleshooting your device and they found out that this is the result of they can now void
smoking cigarettes, weed, and stuff like that.
And if it leads to damaging your product,
that's where
I think it would. Yeah.
Okay, that's the cost.
Okay.
It's good to not.
Anyways, the final one. This very important for parents, right? Kids that are on social media for 1 hour a day have less chance of being happy. This is probably not much of a surprise, but studies have shown that the more time kids spend on social media, the less likely they are to be happy with their overall life by 14%. By comparison, this is 3 times higher than the effect of living in a single parent household.
I think scientifically it is based on, you know, kids, they are still like scientifically their frontal lobe. So this thing that keeps your there's a name they call it. So it is used for processing. So kids are more prone to like reacting to certain things that drives their emotions. So that's why in adults you see that the effect is much more lower in adults than in kids. But keeping kids away from, because there are some channels. I have my nephew, so he's always like, not social media though. I mean YouTube Kids. He's almost like he's always happy to visit sites like YouTube Kids, and so I think it is about guiding them to the right guiding them to the right tools.
On the last,
Yeah, proper control has to be there. I mean, I think was it our first or second episode we were talking about why it's important for parents to control screen time for their kids, and that's socializing within family, mothers and fathers, right? Kids and their parents, everybody living their own independent life in the same household. There should be this family time that people should enjoy, right?
on the last
Okay, so
sorry,
yes.
on that particular episode, I even forgot to mention something because I was doing some research on that topic, and if we notice, we tend to see teenagers and children around that age range getting depressed more and more as we move further in our advancement and all. You see a 15-year-old being all depressed and existential crisis and all of that. And studies have found that this has a lot to do with social media, right? The time they spend seeing some set of people, maybe their mates, for example, doing one or two
like
things.
peer pressures and all.
Exactly. So it has a lot of effects on them, so it's really increased from the studies, right? That depression rate in younger people. So just to put that out.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure this is a topic for another day, right? Now we're moving from the age of social media to the metaverse, right? Now, metaverse that people are saying, you know what? I'm done with this life that you guys have, right? Let me go and live another life in the metaverse where I can control everything and do all those things I can't have, all those things that I can't do in real life. Let me take it to metaverse. Right? I'm sure this depression thing will even get expanded by the time you look at it in the context of metaverse, right? Because now you're talking about disconnecting yourself from everything, it's like, let me just leave this bad world behind me. Let me go to another world I'm creating for myself.
What if is a simulation? I said, what if this world is a simulation of its own?
That's another topic.
If this one is a simulation.
Let's leave that off because there is a lot of stories about that.
I mean, we all believe in a God. Everyone believes in one God or the other. What if that God is keeping us in this simulated?
This is a conversation. This is a technology conversation, right? I mean, I really don't want pastors and are fast to start chasing tech talk now. Anyways, can we really focus and move to the reason why we're here today, right? This central bank policy, which is today's main topic. We all know that the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced the redesigned notes and new limits on large cash withdrawals to help recover about 85% of the total currency circulation outside the banking system. The push to replace the old banknotes with new ones has left very limited cash in circulation, causing frustration. Ife was talking about his own frustration. The long hours, Kester was at the ATM. Was it Ife or Kester that told me that he had a fight at the ATM because of money? Right?
It was actually one guy like that, as in we're cute. I think, and that thing is peculiar to Nigerians. I don't know, probably we Africans. Like people are queuing to collect money, right? Then one guy was just passing out, like, see them. Some people it's just 2,000 they collect on top of my own money. This is my money. 4,000. Like, what's your own? Because you are not on the what?
Wow. The hardship is something else. I saw a video of my folks from Ijebu, my people from Ijebu. These women they were seriously hungry. the effect of it on their business. You can't get people to, how much are you making a day and you don't have access to your own money, my own money. Maybe, especially for us in the tech space, more enlightening.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally felt that this mopping of cash out of the system is really not going to have much impact on people, because I was just looking at things from my own point. I don't even, Kester, you guys know now, I don't carry cash. I don't use cash.
Yeah.
And I know, you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I'm surprised that the kind of dependence on this paper money. I don't know how dependent people are on this, how bad this really can be for us. Now, and the point I'm trying to make here is this. From an entrepreneurial point of view, now I'm speaking to CBN and the CBN governor. If he's listening, he should listen. Because this is the last I would expect from someone like him, particularly because it comes from a business background. For crying out loud, Emefiele before now was the managing director of Zenith Bank, one of the best banks in Nigeria.
They are even shutting
down. And they are shutting down because people will go after Zenith.
People are really going
right. Common sense. Okay, common sense is that whatever idea you are putting out, right? In business school, there's something they call design thinking. You are designing whatever policy you are putting out is because of your customers, right?
Yes.
And the customers, in the case of CBN, Nigerians, okay? Has Emefiele been deliberate to understand the effect of the policy they're about to introduce? The policy, if you look at it, like the benefit of that policy, this is what Nigerians ought to have done a long time ago. It makes a lot of sense, right? You actually can trace every money in the economy, right? I mean, all those things that you have issues around, banditry, kidnapping, all of those things are dependent on physical cash, okay? But for you to have a cashless policy means that you have a control over your currency. It makes a lot of sense.
And they are taking.
But you also have to, yes, and you also have to be mindful that the people, if you have a policy that is meant to change, that would affect a lot of people, politicians, civil servants, people that depend so much on cash. Trust me, you should be ready that these people they would go all out to fight you and deal with you. You understand what I'm saying? They would use all their propaganda to come after you. So you should be prepared on how you want to, handle this implementation and do it in phases. Then when you are now confronted with issues, the right thing to do for a business-minded CEO that I expect Emefiele to be, which is not, is to now see how you can, modify your plans and strategy. You gave a February deadline. You need to keep changing until you achieve what you want to achieve, not until it's getting to this point. So the question for people is, wait a minute, why now? Okay, so what exactly was Emefiele? It's been the governor of Central Bank for how long?
Yeah.
Why did Emefiele wait till February before this
period?
I have an answer to that because I've heard so many theories and
theories around it. Give me one of the theories.
Like people I respect a lot, saying how this policy, this whole thing is directly targeted at Tinubu, one of the presidential candidates.
Yeah. Yes.
Because cash is one of the, in fact, if not the major thing that would push their whatever corrupt means they were going to take to give people this and that. So now having this policy in place would restrict that. And thing is, it's not as, I don't And I don't entirely think that that is the case like 100%, but even if it's were, the idea of it is not nice, because for just one individual, you have made the entire citizen of a whole country, in fact, Africa giant, to be in peril, to be in a very tough situation, just to cripple one individual. And I don't even think it's going to really work if that were the purpose of.
Well, so let's even look at it in that context that the example you cited. Okay, Nigerian economy is so much dependent on cash.
Yes.
Let's use the election as an example. For you to run a free and fair election, particularly because we run a cash-dependent economy, even INEC, the umpire, needs cash.
Yeah.
Needs cash to get things running, needs cash to mobilize, needs cash to move materials. I mean, my uncle's house in Ikorodu is actually at the backyard of INEC office. The materials to that particular location gets there usually a couple of days before the event. But the eve of every election, you would see all these Danfo buses moving in, right? The previous day to sleep over at the GRA where those materials will be moved to all locations. Payment to all these guys are paid on spot. The mobilization for ad hocs, like the ad hoc staff that would work at that particular location. And this is the Korodu. We're not talking about extreme places in Nigeria. You know, you have to go to Sambisa Forest. You have to go to all those extreme places where you can't even find any ATM. You can't find anything. The ad hoc you want to use doesn't even have bank. I mean, talking about financial inclusion, right? From the information available to CBN, which I believe Emefiele has. If we say we have X number of people that are that has a bank account, what is the percentage of that to Nigerian population? So this policy, as good as it is a policy that must happen in phases.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And it is also important for federal government central bank to come up with initiative that would drive that financial inclusion, that would make this policy, that will make people embrace the policy. I'll give an example of what I mean, right? You know, in US, for example, you get incentives for using your cards. Meaning, when you, for example, make deposit and you are making payments online, right? If whatever common sense is not common, unfortunately. If CBN comes up with all these policy that people are getting benefit for simply using the digital, going by their policy, you will see how Nigerians will embrace it. If, for example, you know that you get something for opening a bank account for the first time, if you know that you get something when you run a transaction that is X amount and is done online, people will take it very seriously. Because I mean, for some cards in US, for example, every time you make transaction that is up to a particular amount, you get cash back. Right? My Bank of American card, the first credit I got on my Bank of American card after doing a transaction of $2,000 online, I got $200, and I was seriously on a rush to get to 2,000 because they gave me a time limit that if you get to $2,000 within a window of 30 days for being a first-time user, you are getting $200.
That's a major incentive.
And they also now partnered with different service providers, you're buying fuel in the gas station, you're doing this and all of that. All of them, so you're seeing on your app, you're seeing how much your cashback is. For this month, for example, I already have a $30 waiting for me for different transactions I've used on that card. But trust me, what that I've successfully done is I'm already on books. My trail is everywhere. Think about it. Even some of the policies that CBN has working already. How many of it have we really take advantage of it to get the best out of it? So, for example, everybody that has a bank account has BVN. You are known, okay? And you really want to track and monitor money online. Have we been deliberate to say that every time anybody is making a deposit, the deposit, because if you can just walk into my bank and make deposit into my bank account even without my consent.
Yes.
That's the way you can bring cash and go to my bank account and make the deposit in my account.
The account number.
Yes.
Okay. So what kind of policy is that? Why is it that common sense that is not common? Why is it that we also cannot enforce that whoever is making a deposit, your ID must be seen and your ID must be tied to that transaction?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the way it is. That's the way it is in other countries when you are making deposits. So before someone asks you to go and make deposit on his behalf, you also should be ready that your own record is also on file.
Mm-hmm.
So what CBN ought to have done, which Emefiele has refused to do, because I think there's a major disconnection. Because I remember one time like that, because sometimes I ask myself, is this man, is he an economist at all, or does he even understand the fundamentals of the economy? I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, between me and my friend, my friend is also an entrepreneur. Every time there's a policy from CBN, the first person I will call is Ajibade. And when Emefiele went on air and said the black market, the parallel market, buying money from Aboki is 15% of the total forex demand. Everybody around Nigeria in business were like, does this man understand what he's doing at all? So, very important. Any situation you find yourself, you must know your audience and you must really be on ground. Don't listen to what people are saying to you alone. Emefiele should go to Itafaji. Emefiele should go to Ojuwoye market. Emefiele should go to Gwagwalada market. Engage the market women directly themselves.
But Afo, do you think there are like some powerful people at the top of the hierarchy that are like implementing stuff, just telling Emefiele what to do? Probably might have his own take on all these, but there's nothing.
Very possible. If in Nigeria anything is possible. Anything is possible. But really, you guys are direct. You are directly affected. I'm directly affected. The market women are directly affected. What are your thoughts around it? Kester, what do you think Emefiele should do, right? Or how should we move forward with this?
I've been thinking about the markets, and just as you've been emphasizing, the market women, someone that's selling barley and granuts, for example, or roasted yam, people like that, right? That you can't possibly expect them to just say to take transfer for your 200 naira purchase, right? And so many other people as well in business, small businesses in Nigeria, right? But now I read somewhere that the governments, they are putting out a policy that they want to compel businesses to start using POS and accept transfer, right, for transaction, because a lot of people have complained that where they normally buy stuff, people don't accept these things, and it's an issue for them because getting and all of that. So now, this is a thing that if we check it from the outside, right, or from the top, it looks like a good idea. Yes, let's everybody, just like you said, right? In fact, that incentive is even a really brilliant one to make people and encourage people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, there are still real people that, you know, in this country that cannot even afford that. What they need is that your 15 naira cash, is that your 500 naira cash, right? And it is just as you said, honestly, Afo, for a thing like this is a good idea, but the execution has been messy. The execution of this, the implementation has been messy, and it has put, I've said this before, if Nigeria was a company, we would go back, we would hold up. Honestly, because this is like a failed, it's as though everything has failed.
The implementation
up to the level of cash flow, right? Fuel has always been something we fought with and stuff. Now, even cash. So it's like as if the foundation has failed. What again is left, right, as a country? So for a thing like this, it is best to have it in stages. That's what I've always thought. In small bits and small stages. But rushing everything in like this is making it look more like this is very much targeted at.
I agree that they should have it in stages. Yeah. And I also think that the CBN should work with these fintech companies because they know their way around all these things. So if you look at the BRT system, if you look at Cowry, so you get a card, all you just have to do is just swipe your card on their system and it will automatically debit your. So I think if we can come up with a system that is similar to that of Cowry, I think it will be easier for people to, because if you are talking about using POS, POS takes time.
Have smartphones.
No, you don't even need to have smartphone. You just need to have your card. You need to get your card. So I'm not saying they should have a system like exactly like Cowry, but I think if the CBN can partner with fintechs, they can be able to achieve this. I agree with you. Like it has to be in phases, but yes. I think implementing a digital system is something that is very great, and I think implementing something like that Cowry would be. I think it's very correct.
You're very correct, but again, the majority, or maybe let me not say majority.
If you go to mainland, okay. Between the axes of Abuleba to Oshodi, you realize that even market women, they have their Cowry card. So whenever they want to take BLT, you just have to swipe your card. You don't have to input your PIN or anything. So what is that you load money into Cowry. So if it is 1,000 naira, you load your money into the Cowry card. Then you just so they have this.
Okay. Sorry, let me quickly jump in on this, right? I think the question and for so many people around this policy, which both of you also have been speaking to, is the timing of the policy. We all know that this is good for Nigeria. We all know that this is good. This is the right thing to do, right? But the timing, right? Why is everything happening so quickly at this time? Whatever policy you're trying to put in place, it is always important for you to, factor the circumstance. There are other things you must consider, right? The environmental factor to any initiative is always important. If in IT security, remember when we're going through some of these questions, the minute the issue or subject matter borders around safety, what comes first? Safety comes first. When it borders around, there's no way you can talk about confidentiality or talk about integrity without availability.
It comes first.
If you say you want to provide a service and availability becomes an issue, then you have to fine-tune and how to make it work. Okay, because whatever solution you're trying to put forward. What matters at the end of the day is the target audience and how this thing is working for them.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at people's lives that are put, at risk because of this policy, I saw videos of people jumping over bankers, jumping over the fence, all in the name of avoiding lynching. Right? The CPN, under the leadership of Emefiele, they've also done some very good things, without doubt. Okay? I mean, the POS you mentioned right now, if there's anything you want to commend Emefiele for, do you understand, is this POS initiative.
Yeah.
You understand? It is actually like having a bank, in a mini bank in every community, because if you see any POS around any POS today, right, you can do virtually everything on a POS machine.
Like you do in banks, yeah, exactly.
You can buy your airtime, you can open a bank account, you can do so many things.
But Afo, this particular thing about POS, a lot of people have even had the opportunity to speak with. They think it's a very bad idea to have an individual kind of bank be like a bank. So what do you think about that?
So that's what I was saying.
No. So
ground.
Sorry for if you finish your thought. My point is, every idea would always have its flaws.
Yes.
And the right thing is to look at it and review and make changes when necessary. Next week, we're talking about a topic around fintech, right? And how, the funding that has gone into the tech space and the huge investments in that space. One of the solutions, which will continue to be a case study in any business school, is the success story of M-Pesa. M-Pesa, or is it M-Pesa or M-Pesa, which started in Kenya, was a solution that was targeted at the real people of Kenya, in their farms, in the market. If there's any technology that has really penetrated Africa, using Nigerian as an example, that has gone, to the extreme of every country or every city or every village in Nigeria, is your mobile phone. And if you have a mobile phone, you have an SMS. M-Pesa is an SMS dependent solution and technology, right? It works effectively. So my point is, for every solution or for every policy you want to implement, you must also be conscious about the value, conscious about the need of your customers and how your customers will respond to it. And you would continue to make changes when necessary until that particular solution or product is achieving what you expect it to achieve. Ife, go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, instead of making use of your ATM, right, I'm still going to go back to cowrie, because using cowrie, you are not really, like, there's a middle ground, right? So you are not really using your ATM card. So
Kester, before Ife completes his thoughts, noted that the way Ife is promoting cowrie, it seems Sanwo-Olu has paid him. Sanwo-Olu has paid him. Just continue. We know where you stand. Continue with your cowrie thoughts.
I've seen the system, and the system is quite fascinating, right? So
continue.
Someone steals your cowrie card. Your cowrie card can be traced, right? So, and you are not really exposing your main account, which is your bank account. If you are using the POS system, you are literally exposing your bank account, because you can have some scammers. They tend to act like they are POS vendors, and you just input your card and they get your details, right? So, but if we have a system like cowrie, all you just have to do is send a certain amount of money to your cowrie card. Then you can now use your cowrie card use it as use it in any form of way, in anywhere, right? So, and the way it works is that you don't have to go to wherever you want to get something or wherever you want to do anything and start imputing your card. You just have to like swipe it. So have you seen the equipment they use?
Really,
so there's this thing they use, it's just like POS too. You just have to like place it. And I think they got it from these from a UK system, UK boss system. So if you can have that across all vendors, across all, like something, I'm not saying you should have the same thing like that. Like if we can have something similar to that, which I'm sure that most fintechs are even probably working on right now. I just feel the CBN should just collaborate with these guys, because these guys are tech guys. They know what it is out there. They know how to implement all these things. Have you had any problem with Kudi? With Kudi, have you had any problem with Flutterwave? Have you had any problem with Bata?
If what Kester is saying, which I agree with, is this: no matter how fantastic, and that's the problem with Emefiele. If you stop sounding like another Emefiele, no matter how fantastic your solution and idea is, know your audience. Exactly. Communicate with your audience. Engage your audience. Work with them closely. Let them own it.
Afo, I was actually surprised that a lot of people in the mainland, like areas where you can't even imagine people using this system. I was actually surprised that people are really using it there. If you go to all these,
why is it that with all these things you are saying, right? If Emefiele has done the right thing, right, particularly on this cashless policy, why is it? Because I used myself as an example, and I said, I mean, I don't carry cash anymore. Yeah. And if this cash issue is biting as hard as it is now, it's simply saying that the CBN has not done enough to really get people to embrace this financial inclusion, this digital economy as much as they should have. And you have to do it in phases. It should be a carrot and stick initiative.
Yeah.
Not just for you to put the whole economy in this dire situation that we find ourselves now. And that's why some people are asking this question. Why the rush? Why the rush? What is happening?
At the end of the day, what is the percentage of people that are digitally inclined in this country? I can't actually.
They're not even up to 40%, are they?
Of people that are digitally inclined.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so let's look at this. Look at this national ID, this NIMSI thing.
Yeah.
You know, I love the way those people went about their own process. They kept putting the pressure. They were putting pressure. They were shifting dates. They were shifting deadline. Yes. They will come out and give the analysis. Oh, now we've captured 20 million. It has increased to 40 million. It has increased to 60 million. And they were shifting the deadline. Why is that not the same approach CBN is adopting? Honestly, even the circulation, the money has not gone around. Then we saw some videos that went viral that the bandits were even saying that they have the new notes that we Nigerians don't have. Bandits are Boko Haram. I think they have the money. What is going on? What is going on? Emefiele we should invite Emefiele on Techtalk to come and answer this question.
The former 100.
Emefiele, what is going on?
Do you know that the former 100 Naira note, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The one before they changed to this one, it's still in circulation. Like you can still use it to do whatever transaction you want to do till today. Like if you are in a bus now, for example, and you want to pay and you pay with the old 100 Naira, they will still take it. Have you not seen it? Like,
yeah,
you know, they changed that 100 Naira not long, some years ago. Like if you remember.
Yeah.
Right. And that old 100 Naira, you can still use it.
I think the one they did in 2016 lasted for a year.
Why is it that this one now, all of a sudden, just abrupt, they want to just stop?
Abruptly. You just want to stop it abruptly. What's going on?
Right.
The point we are making, right, and we believe CBN is also working on this. But for starters, guys, based on the judgment that was passed by the Supreme Court, is it that CBN intends to move forward with it? Is the presidency also moving forward with the two currency running side by side, allowing people to continue their business with the old note, or what?
I
think for now we can still have that. We can have the two currency working side by side.
No, I'm actually asking from a policy standpoint now. You know, there was a judgment yesterday that the two notes should run side by side.
Yeah.
Right? Has there been an announcement by Emefiele and his guys, or presidency and the Ministry of Finance, you know, that this is the position that would go on going forward?
I think that was announced, yesterday or day before yesterday.
That's what will happen.
Because right now they are short in supply. So at least pending the time they'll be able to try and get more cash flow into the system. So we can still have the two currencies running side by side. I think it
will run side by side for you.
So what we will expect in the new week is that you know, things to start coming back to, we should start experiencing a bit of normalcy, right?
Yeah.
Gradually from the new week, based on this position, right? I think the summary of our submission, right, is the importance. Anything that you call technology, anything you call a solution, the audience that you are selling that solution to matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You have to be agile, and that's where this agile process comes to play. The agile approach comes to play. You are reviewing every step of the way before your final rollout, right? You want to look at how are customers interacting with your solution. You take the feedback, make changes where necessary, and this is applicable anywhere, right? The technology process that has really helped and shaped development in the tech space can also work anywhere, right? If you bring it into the project management space for CBN, they actually will get better results. That's what we are saying. Listen to your customers, engage them. Emefiele, go to the market, interact with the market woman. These are the people that need your policy. Go to the Fulani herdsmen. Come down to the farmers, engage them, and see how this policy will work for them. And that matters. If you've been doing that, I mean, we won't even find ourselves in this situation. There was one example.
Research.
Go ahead.
Research. I would like.
You said?
I said I would like to know how CBN, how they do their market research, because they just come up with these implementations without giving a concrete back into what they actually do.
I talking about CBN and their interesting policies again. I have my very good friend, older colleague, is the CEO of one of the biggest microfinance bank in Nigeria, right? Mm-hmm. And there was one time in one of our groups we were discussing Naira. From the very first day Naira was launched, from the first day Naira was launched, my friend said this is a failure, and then later it now became sarcastic. So every little time there's a conversation, the first thing he will say is, so AFO, we will pay with your Naira. He kept going. I mean, because for me, I was coming from the tech space that Naira is a good idea, blah blah blah. He said CBN Naira.
The way the government.
So with all the noise around Naira, can you tell me about your own Naira experience? Have you been using Naira?
No, I've not been using.
How is Naira different from your cowrie?
Because I knew it was going to. It is. I think what they were trying to achieve then was similar to what Kari is doing now. But I think the government, the way they just go about doing their own thing, like the first impression.
This was Naira was a multi-billion project.
Yes.
Right? But how can you just rush solutions, run idea
Yeah.
without engaging your target audience and understand if this is what they want or not. If you don't design something with your target audience in mind already, I mean, from the beginning, it's a failure.
Exactly.
Right? It's a failure. I'll give you an example of another interesting USM experience. I think it was last year, August, September. I mean, I wanted to sort out my US driver's license, right? And for you to get your driver's license, you need an appointment, and driving is something that is like, I mean, you can't even do anything if you can't drive in US. Is a major issue. So the demand, there's always people at the driver's license office. Serious pressure, right? But you have to get your appointment online. The appointment I got, I wanted my driver's license in August. The appointment I got was for February 2023. The alternative for you is to just go straight to the center, right? And be lucky to pick a spot. You actually can go appear and pick a spot. And when they told me, they said, just try to be there early. You can be lucky and you can get a spot. So on this particular day, I got there around 5 o'clock. And I think when I was there, I'm not sure if it was Ife I spoke to, because we had a conversation. And I said I was in the driver's license office to pick my, to sort out my driver's license registration. Around 5 o'clock that I got there, already I met a long line. People waiting also for that, what's it called? Same spot, the few spots at 5 o'clock. The second day, so when I got there the first day, the first question, I just went straight to the first person in front of the line. Sorry, excuse me, what time did you get here? And he told me he got there 1 a.m. So in my mind, I know that when I'm coming tomorrow, I'm coming 12. I'm coming 12. I'm coming 12 a.m. You know me now. I'm a time man. Emmanuel, are you listening? Emmanuel, I'm a time management person. So I got there around 1 a.m., 12 a.m. the next day. I was number one.
Wow.
I was number one. So I went with my mat and slept. Now, surprisingly, when I went this year for my driving test, I saw it. There was already a poster on the door that there are in-person, what's it called? In-person appointment, daily appointment, because they realized that people were creating unnecessary crowd in front of the office. So my point is, they listened and they came up with this idea that if you want to come for that in-person appointment, it happens, you can't come to queue again. There's nothing like you come down to queue. Just come 7 o'clock. The number of dates, available spots for a day will be released. Right? It will be released you don't have to come.
You just have to pick the spot.
Just be on our portal by 7 o'clock. We release the date, we release that spot, that 30 spots. We release it between 7 a.m. and 7:15. Fastest finger. Just open your app, fastest finger, pick your spots, and you can show. That is what you call understanding your audience and consistently.
If you want to withdraw your money, pick a spot. So
hey. So your audience, your target audience should be the one driving your solution. You can't just wake up on the side of maybe because Emefiele went to Buhari, and Buhari said, in 1983, when I was the military president, we changed currency, and all those all those corrupt politicians, we dealt with them, and Emefiele just went back to CBN and said, Bubu said, Bubu said we should change currency. That we want to change currency to deal with bank. And Emefiele just overnight came up with a policy, that is now really putting pressure on Nigerians. You don't just do things like that, right? We really need to be more serious, as a country and as a people, right? So that's, I guess that's the point we're trying to make. I think that's about it for this week's episode. Ife and Kesa, you guys should wrap up this session.
So before I wrap up real quick, what you said, I really, really, key with it, because I've always thought myself that our government, Nigerian government, they don't really care, because if you check what you've been saying, they've not been looking at the people, exactly what they need to tailor, the solutions based on. So I've always thought that they don't really care for the people, like, really, right? And whatever policy and all they come up with for the people, right, is just so that they would have done something and have it in their portfolio. I know this is a kind of half-baked mentality, right? But then, to me, it's evidence in the country, the fact that they don't really care for the people. It's evidence.
I actually feel they care, but they are not going about it the right way.
If there's a percentage of people that care, probably like 10% of people in real power, right, of that really care. Because if you do care, and these people they are not incompetent. They are not incompetent. I don't think they are, right? Even though some percentage of them may be, but I don't think so they must know what to do rightly, except it's just doing it for doing its sake. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's what I really think, actually, about this whole thing. It's just...
I interestingly, I agree with both of you. I also think they care, and at the same time, I think they don't. Okay? But at the end of the day, the reason why it appears they don't and they do is because collectively as Nigerians, we don't hold ourselves accountable. Accountability is one of the reasons why the care and the careless seems to be in conflict, right? People get away with things. We don't hold ourselves accountable. A policy is not right. Who was responsible for it in the first place? How can we still be having this conversation and Emefiele is still the governor of Central Bank? I don't understand, right? Someone at some point it was all over that he also had planned to contest to become Nigerian president, and is also the one driving the economy. And this is a policy. The announcement of this policy, if I'm right, happened in December or thereabout. Was it December or November?
November, December. I think so.
December.
It was rushed. It was rushed. Before we got to know about the approval for the redesigning, the next thing we're seeing that honestly, I'm still thinking that my assumption is right. That Bubu was just being himself, speaking generally, and then Emefiele just acted on impulse. It wasn't as if, because I'm sure if you go to their plan, if you go to their 2020 plan, CBN's 2020 plan, I'm sure this design of currency. But look at that design. Look at the design. From the design, you can tell. Was that a properly planned design?
Just painted.
Just freestyle.
No. They bleached. They bleached the old one. They just put the old one inside bleach now.
Yes, and made it.
That's what they did now. They just put it inside bleach. That's what they did. Because no thought, no proper thinking went into it. Just put old notes, put it inside bleach, brought it out. People went out to boo-boo.
I like in this Naira notes, they have these dates to it. In those new ones, you can still find some that have 2020.
Imagine.
2019. But this is a new note. How is it that's how it's supposed to be?
Well, I beg you, let's leave this people, Jerry, and let's talk to our own.
Okay. So,
if you want to find us, where will people find us?
Yes, you can find us on pretty much every social media platform.
Techtalk-With-AFO,
Instagram,
YouTube.
And you can also find us at @AFO_Karamsi on Instagram.
Yeah.
We are on the infamous TikTok as well as Techtalk-With-AFO. We are on YouTube.
Oh my guys.
Podcast.
Anyway.
And last week we had a winner. More like this week, we had a winner that she won. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry if you're watching this. But she won a free meal, packed meal, right? And that's going to be delivered to her. It's really a fun thing because you see people, come out and engage, and even on our YouTube, right? There's one of our where we have several comments. In fact, someone made a comment about, and people just went down there and started talking. It's interesting. It's really interesting, and we really appreciate your engagement, and we look forward to more, as we would always come with more giveaways and more things to entice you, right, to be hooked. So stay tuned.
Yeah, shout out to Elias Omobonale.
Yes, Miss Elias, that's her name.
Miss Elias.
Elias.
Engager on our platform. Yes.
So
Kester and Ife, I told you guys that we are 4 to 5 people away from anybody you want to talk to in the world.
Yeah.
If really put some thought into this, Emefiele should have been on this particular episode. Emefiele should have been on this episode. Let's talk to Emefiele directly and put the question to him and ask him all these important questions that Emefiele, what were you thinking? Tell us. What was the thought process? What led to this, your new policy, and you not follow through? Anyways, guys, thank you for your time. See you same time, same platform next week.
Yeah.